one of our favorite times of the year. What do you expect this Thursday night?
Well, I expect the more that you enjoy the general manager part of your NFL team, okay, the putting together of your team, that you will enjoy this draft more than even usual. Because if you think about it, it's not a quarterback draft class. It's not even a receiver draft class, even though a bunch of them are going to go in the first round. I don't know if there'll be more than 2 that go in the top 15. So there may be 5 or 6 receivers, but we don't think we're drafting Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson here. We've got a Sadiq at tight end who's a freak of nature athletically. And I mean, him and Love could be the 2 best athletes and players in this draft. But who's going to take a tight end high? I think his floor is Carolina at 19, but does Tampa take him at 15 despite needing an edge rusher desperately? Because you just can't pass on this kid.
Do the Ravens take Ken Sadiq at 14, looking
Right.
at they are likely 2.0?
Yes. They've got Mark Andrews. Okay, to me, what's interesting is they've been working out who's the Browns Ngochu there? And have they, to me, a tell is he signed before the first round? If they sign him, I don't think they draft Sadiq. If he's unsigned, then they're waiting to see if they're going to get him. And then if not, they'll sign him. So I'm fascinated. To me, I would love to have been a general manager of a team. I love this. Whether the Jets take Reese or Bailey. There are some people that like Bailey more than Reese. Apparently the Jets are going to take Reese. So then now who desperately wants to trade to 3 to get their hands on Bailey, who a lot of people think is a 10 to 12 sack a year guy for 7-8 years. Oh, okay. Then there's Jeremiah Love. A lot of people think he's the best player in the draft. Does Tennessee pass on him at 4? Does somebody trade with Arizona, who has indicated they want to move down because they need more players? Does somebody trade ahead of Tennessee to take Love at 3? Dallas has said they desperately want to move up. Well, they're already at 12 and 20. Do the Giants just stay at 5 and 10? Or do they package their second round pick with number 10 and move up, say, to Cleveland at 6? I mean, this to me, I think, over under 6.5 on trades, we're going to go over. I think we're going to have at least 2 in the top 10. At least 2. We may have 3.
I think we know this for sure. Fernando Mendoza is going number 1 on Thursday night.
We do. Absolutely, we do. But now there's real talk that Arizona and the Jets like Simpson, the Alabama quarterback. Well, the Jets are picking 33rd in the second round, and Arizona's picking 34. So if Arizona really likes him, what do they have to do?
Jump the Jets.
And get back into the first round. Well, how high are you going to get? What are you willing to give up so that the Jets go, nope, not this year. We're not taking a quarterback. Because remember, the Jets have 4 of the top 44. So are they just going to make sure that they get their quarterback of the future? Or are they going to pass if Arizona is indicating they're really aggressive and they're going to move up to like the Bears at 25 or Buffalo at 26 or something like that?
Yeah, so about Fernando Mendoza, we know he's going 1. I mean, you covered Mendoza doing a lot of Big Ten games this year for CBS. What I loved about Mendoza is that it didn't matter what kind of, if he threw the worst pick we've ever seen, came back, he threw picks against Iowa, didn't matter. Bad pick 6 against Oregon, picks against Penn State, knocked on his butt against Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. It didn't matter. Fernando Mendoza could just come back off the grass and look like a franchise quarterback.
You mentioned one of the things I really like about him. I was at the Oregon game. He throws the pick six at Oregon, and now it's early fourth quarter and the game's tied. Well, there's a lot of stadiums that are really loud. Oregon's in the top 5. So now the place is going bonkers. Absolutely bat blank bonkers. And Mendoza's just made the biggest mistake of his college career, because this is a really big game at the time. Mendoza, how did he handle it? 12 plays, 75 yards, back shoulder to Surratt, touchdown. 6 runs, 6 passes. Right calmly down the field against Oregon, 3 for 3 on third downs. The touchdown was on third down. All right. So right there, I remember thinking, ooh. And he outplayed Dante Moore severely in that game. So then, he throws the interception against Penn State. They're going to lose that game. Now, his receivers made 2 ridiculous catches. Okay, Surratt down the sidelines and then Moore at the back of the end zone, which is probably the catch of the year. Okay, but once again, what did he do? On the road, very hostile, and he handled it, and he got his job done. The other thing that impressed me, D, he's more athletic than you think. All right? And you need to be, even as a pocket passer. You need to be able to dodge the rush, even if it's just to get outside the pocket and throw the ball. Just occasionally, the pocket breaks down, you run for 6 to 8 yards and move the chains. He's more athletic than you think. All you have to do is look at that quarterback draw against Miami for the touchdown.
That might have been the play of the year. Nobody, I guarantee you this, nobody on Miami's defense thinking quarterback draw on 4th and 5, and then it looks like Fran Tarkenton running.
Well, and he looked like Earl Campbell when he ran over the defender. He is more impressive than you think. I don't think he's a legendary quarterback. I don't. But do I think he could be at least as good as Derek Carr was for the Raiders, who, remember, was probably going to win an MVP one year until he got hurt very late in the season? So I do think Mendoza can be a competent, solid NFL quarterback. And remember, he's got Brock Bowers to throw to. That's a good start. They got to get him a line. They got to buy a line, which they've, I think, bought 2 starters. They got to just draft offensive line in the draft, honestly, and worry about the rest later. But I think he will make it. I think he will be a middle-of-the-pack NFL quarterback.
Could he be? I've heard a lot of people say Mendoza's a little Matt Ryan. Is that the worst call?
Well, if he was Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan was a top 10 quarterback in the league for almost his entire career. That would be, if they're getting Matt Ryan, Matt Ryan's going to be he's going to be a Hall of Fame finalist. Whether you think he's a Hall of Famer or not, but I'm telling you, with over 60,000 yards passing, he's going to be a Hall of Fame finalist. Took a team to a Super Bowl. Helped turn the Falcons into a consistently solid franchise, something they have not been, except when Matt Ryan was their quarterback. So let me tell you, if the Raiders are getting Matt Ryan, the Raiders are going to do the happy dance.
Yeah, since those Rich Gannon teams, other than Jared Goff for a few years, the Raiders quarterback situation's been almost like Cleveland's.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's going to end, that he's going to be at least okay.
And plus Clint Kubiak there, I think Clint Kubiak being an offensive mind will only help Mendoza.
Well, and I don't know how much he's going to play this year. Brilliant move by them getting Cousins. I mean, this is what the Giants did 20 years ago. They got Kurt Warner, and they didn't put Eli Manning in there till week 10. I mean, we all know about the Packers and what they did with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I'm not expecting him to sit for 3 years, okay? But I do think that he's not going to get thrown to the Wolves. And that's good. That's really good. Worst thing you could do for a quarterback. I mean, put the team around him. Notice at practice. I mean, Kurt Warner was honked at the Giants when he got benched. The Giants were in a playoff position. And Warner said, "Why are we doing this?" And they said, "Because it's time." All right. He's progressing. It's now time for him to play. And I hope the Raiders do the same thing, D. I hope they don't play him a minute before they're watching him at practice going, "Yeah, we gotta put him on the field." All right. That's what I hope they do with him. And I hope it's not before Thanksgiving. And by the way, Eli lost his first 6 starts also and did not look good doing it. I mean, Warner was looking over at Tom Coughlin going, "Really?" All right. So, I mean, I really hope that they at least wait until Thanksgiving before they're going to play him.
I don't think we compare Mendoza to the quarterbacks of 24, 25 because Mendoza wouldn't go 1-24, and I don't think he's Cam Ward athletic from last year, correct?
Yeah, but there's far more things for a quarterback. I mean, and to me, now maybe it's just the Indiana offense is so easy to run. I mean, he has a bit of a quarterback whisperer. Guys go there, have really good years, arguably their best year in college ball, and then leave. So it certainly happened to Mendoza. We'll see.
Well, the other potential first-round quarterback, Ty Simpson of Alabama, only started 15 games. Couldn't beat out Jane Milroe in 24. We don't know if that's because Milroe got to a Rose Bowl or because Milroe was better than Simpson. But, if you look at Simpson's first 8 games, he was as good, if not better than Mendoza. But the last 7, ugh. So how good can Ty Simpson be?
Well, put it this way. There are quite a few NFL evaluators, draft folk, whatever you want to call them, who think that his ceiling is higher. They like him a lot. And they're willing to put their name behind, "I like him more than Mendoza." Now, I do think the last third of the season, his offensive line went south on them, and they had no running game. I mean, worst rushing team, I believe, in the SEC. At Alabama. So he didn't get a lot of help. Also, Alabama's receivers led the league in drops.
I mean, Ryan Williams winning the witness protection program.
Yes. So if you're a big fan of Simpson, you can come up with a lot of circumstantial evidence to back up why the last third of the season was not as good as the first 2/3. Do I wish he had started another year? Yes, I do. Okay. Bill Parcells used to have a rule. He wouldn't draft a quarterback unless he had 40 starts. Now that may be a little, too much. Maybe 30 is the number, but only having the 1 year, then you start talking about the Trubisky's of the world, who only had the 1 year. So I wish he had another year. Yes, the Jalen Milroe thing, what was it, 2 years ago? He couldn't beat him out. But that was 2 years ago. That's a long time in developing a quarterback. My thing is, whether it's the Jets or the Cardinals, who are moving from the second round to the first round to take him, I just hope they do something along the lines of what the Raiders are doing. Like if Arizona gets him, they've got Jacoby Brissett. Just let the kid develop. Play Brissett. You're not going to win anyway. You're in a division with the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks. We all know you're not ready to win, so don't get them beat up. And if it's the Jets, they got Geno Smith. Don't play him, please. Don't play him. That's all I hope for.
Yeah, until the Rams trained the 29th pick, everybody was like, well, they'd be a great spot. Well, Simpson wouldn't have to play the first year or two with Stafford there.
Well, remember, the Giants moved into the first round for Dart. What did they take them at? 25, 26? They gave up a third round pick to move from like 34 to their spot. So to move up 8+ spots, they gave up a third rounder. Now, either that's a steal or that's the going rate. So think about where it is Arizona or the Jets could trade up to. Could they go as high as Chicago at 25, Buffalo at 26? I mean, how high do they need to go to outbid the other to get their hands on Ty Simpson?
Especially when this isn't necessarily a great draft class. I mean, there might be one, maybe likely two quarterbacks in the first round, but this isn't a great draft class.
No, the next quarterback may not be taken till the third round, and there may only be one taken in the third round. So, yeah, this is not the year for the quarterback.
Yeah, next year might be, but I think we
Right.
said that going into this year, and all the quarterbacks regress badly. So, Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame running back. A lot of people think he's the best player in this draft. Would you concur that Jeremiah Love is the best skill player in this draft, or maybe the best player in this draft?
Well, he's definitely the best offensive player in the draft. I'd be surprised if he gets past Tennessee at 4. Tennessee has a history of tailbacks. Eddie George, Chris Johnson, obviously Derrick Henry. And their fans are pounding the table. They want him. They want him. They want him. And if you're running that organization, aren't you trying to make Cam Ward's life as good as possible? So to me, you take him. So I don't see him getting past Tennessee. I don't. There are some people that say he may. I mean, to me, I think it's more likely somebody trades up to Arizona at 3 and takes him than he gets past Tennessee at 4, but he ain't going far.
No. How early is too early for a running back? Because we've seen running backs go early. Saquon Barkley in New York. Leonard Fournette was the disappointing in Jacksonville. Ashton Jeanty was really not himself in Vegas last year.
Yeah, but their offensive line was terrible. Quite frankly, Chip Kelly, the offensive coordinator, everybody hated him. They thought Chip had mailed it in. So their offense was a mess last year. I mean, over half of Genty's carries, he got hit behind the line of scrimmage. I wouldn't make a verdict yet on Genty, but Christian McCaffrey went 8. Saquon went what? 2, 3? 2, I think. I mean, listen, if there's a guy that you think is just phenomenal, you take him, period.
And in many ways, running back isn't just a running back. I mean, Jeremiah Love can be a receiver. You could flex him out wide like the Lions have done with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Totally. And the Lions traded up to
12
to take Jahmyr Gibbs. And now you go back, you look at those drafts and you go, they took 11 guys before Jahmyr Gibbs? No, seriously. So, I mean, yeah, there's injury risk with running backs. It's football. There's injury risk with everybody. I don't know what to tell you. He's the only guy in the draft that you think if he gets his hand on the ball, he's taking it to the house. Only guy in the draft. Maybe Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. But that's it. And to me, that's enough.
And you know what? I mean, in this draft where there might not be star power, we're talking off-ball linebackers, safeties potentially going in the top half dozen picks.
Right? Absolutely. I mean, just the Ohio State players that are projected to go in the top 10. I mean, it's a goober, as I like to say, draft. If you're really into how your team is constructed, this is the draft for you. And my hope is that the networks covering it are going to talk, the general managers talk. That's the fascinating part of this draft. Not the players necessarily who are being drafted, but the positions they play and why that's the fit for your team. Also, why it is you took him, because, well, the guy behind you was going to take him if you didn't. And how many trades do we see, Dylan? Because people know, like apparently Sonny Styles' floor is Washington at 7. That's the word. That if Sonny Styles is on the board, Washington's taking him at 7. Well, okay. Does that enter the equation for all the teams that are thinking of moving to Cleveland at 6?
Or New York at 5?
Or New York at 5? Or is New York one of the teams that's going to take Styles? Because Cleveland, if they stay, you got to figure they're taking best offensive player they can get their hands on. I mean, they should literally draft the first 4 rounds, nothing but offense.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's got to get a tackle and a wide receiver on Thursday night. At least you would think, right?
They've got to get as many offensive players as they can get their hands on. Seriously. I mean, if they would need to trade down and get more second and third rounders, they need players desperately everywhere on offense. But, getting back to it, Dylan, I'm a big Ruben Bain guy. I'm higher on Bain than probably anybody else that's out there. Like, to me, if I'm the Giants, even though losing Dexter Lawrence is huge. I mean, huge. They don't have anybody to replace him. They can't get their hands on anybody to replace him either. So they're going to have trouble stopping the run. However, they've got Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau. I think they're going to trade Thibodeau. Well, then give me a little Ruben Bain. How about those 4 guys rushing the passer on passing downs?
That'd be like the Giants of 2007, which 2007.
Exactly. Is Ruben Bain a first down guy? Maybe not. But is he a second and third down guy? Hell yeah. All right. And Dylan, you make the point. When were the Giants the Giants? When they had Umenyiora, Tuck, Strahan. Okay. That was a problem for teams. And so, why are the Texans so good on defense? Yeah, because those 2 ends can't be blocked. And it just cannot be blocked.
And one of them just got 150 large.
Right. So, if I'm the Giants, I can't. It's why I wouldn't have traded Dexter Lawrence, by the way. I wouldn't have. I needed a big fella to push the pocket in the middle. And over the last 4 years, he has far and away the most pressures in the league of defensive tackles and nose tackles. But the deal is done. If I'm the Giants, I'm taking Bain. But Bain, a lot of people think is going to be on the board for the Saints at 8, the Chiefs at 9, Giants at 10. I mean, the Giants maybe don't have to take him at 5. Well, then who do you take? Sonny Styles, the Ohio State safety instead?
Caleb Downs.
Do you go offensive tackle and take the first one off the board? And you're rolling the dice that you're going to get either Downs or Bain at 10? Like, I think the Giants have to take the best defensive player on their board at 5 because I think they can get the first or second best offensive tackle at 10.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't really see a lot of left tackles in this draft.
No.
I think Monroe Freeland's got the chance, but I feel like he's a year or 2 away. Caden Proctor could be, but he is too big to play left tackle.
Yeah, he, I think, may struggle just to be on the right tackle. He may end up being a guard, to be honest. But the Giants don't need a left tackle. I mean, the Giants have a lot of needs. They got Andrew Thomas at left tackle.
If he's healthy.,
He was last year. Okay. But, You're not drafting a replacement for Andrew Thomas. So, I mean, I think it's fascinating. Is Arizona going to trade out at 3? Is Tennessee going to take Love? Who would the Giants take at 5? And which side of the ball? Cleveland has indicated they're moving out at 6. Who's moving in? Kansas City? Dallas? We can go right down the line. Washington will be traditional. New Orleans is in an interesting spot. They could have one of these terrific defensive players fall to them. Then again, they really need some offensive help. So to me, this draft is Los Angeles at 13. Would love a wide receiver to fall to them. Would love it. If not, they hope one of the top 3 tackles falls to them. But are they 1 or 2 spots away from getting what they really want? You know, this to me is the fascinating part of the draft. Are they going to have to move up from 13 to 11 with the Dolphins to get the guy they really want? Is it the wide receiver Tyson from Arizona State? Is it Mualaga, the tackle from Miami? I mean, this to me,
from USC.
Yeah, this to me is the fascinating part of the draft. Are teams going to be able to sit tight and get who they want? It's looking as if not. Okay, well then what are you willing to give up to move up? And how far?
And don't forget the Ohio State players, because I think there could be 5 Buckeyes. 4 are definitely going to be first rounders. I don't know about Caden McDonald, the nose guard, but I think there could be 4 Buckeyes going in the first 10 picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because either Reese or Bailey will be top 2, 3, or 4 picks. Sonny Styles is going to be a top 10 pick. Cale Downs is probably going to be a top 10 pick. And then Cade is probably going to be the first wide receiver taken because Ohio State wide receivers always go in the first round.
Well, definitely top 13. I would definitely make that wager. But yes, there's a chance it's all top 10.
And about the wide receivers for a minute, I don't know if Tate's necessarily really the best athlete, but I always think he's like JSN a little bit.
Well, that's a big comparison because JSN's a 1.
Yeah, JSN will go once.
But I do think, D, that's the big question in this draft. There's a lot of wide receivers, a lot of good ones.
But there's no Jeremiah Smith.
Well, that's just it. Is there a number 1? Okay. Tyson from Arizona State, Lemon from USC. Do we really think these guys are 1s on Sundays? Not Saturdays, Sundays. Like, I don't think there's a 1. There's a stud. Oh, my goodness. We've got Chase or Jefferson. In fact, to me, I'm curious, the guys in this draft, can they be the number 2 receivers on those 2 teams? Like, can one of them be a T. Higgins? That to me would be terrific. Terrific. But New Orleans, the Rams, others, they're gonna take these receivers. They're gonna gamble and hope that they are 1s. And to me, they may be drafting 2s. Now in Los Angeles, that's okay. All right. They've got Devontae Adams, they got Puka. If they draft a kid and he's only a 2, they're fine with it.
And then the Saints with Chris Olave. I mean, if Chris Olave avoids concussions and if Puka avoids any more off the field issues, those teams are set.
Right. Okay. But I don't know if there's a 1.
Yeah.
And if there is, great. And I'd love to be wrong. The Jets at 16, they've been linked to Cooper from Indiana. Okay. good number 2 receiver. You need one. I'm not saying it's, at 16 to get a solid number 2, kind of like when the Bucs drafted Chris Godwin. That's perfect. That's fine. But I don't know if the others are ones.
And there's a chance one of those 3 wide receivers falls to 16. I mean, we know Tyson's got injury issues. I mean, is Mekhi Lemon maybe a poor man's version of Amon-Ra? And
well, to me, Dylan, if the wide receivers drop, it'll simply be that the NFL teams have decided that the defensive players, because also there's 2 corners we haven't talked about.
yeah, Delane and the corner from
Tennessee, right. Okay. And so there's 2 of those guys who I think are going in the top 15. So you add up the defensive players, you throw in Mendoza and Love for 2 offensive players. You throw in the offensive tackles, because once the run starts, okay, teams are going to trade up, because there's usually only 3 or 4 of them that are considered first rounders. And so, you plug and play. And so teams, I think, may move up for the number 3 or 4 offensive tackle as opposed to the number 3 or 4 or 5 wide receiver.
And don't forget the guard out of Penn State, Ione. Is that
the guard out of Penn State, Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon? That's the thing. Mendoza, Love, the Penn State guard, Sadiq. All right, there you go. There's 4 guys. Okay, now let's add up all the defensive players that we think are on the A list. That's like 6. Okay, now let's talk offensive guard tackles. It's at least 3. All right, so we're at 13 right here. We haven't taken a wide receiver yet. And that's what I'm talking about. That somebody's going to drop. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, and also there's a possibility of trade. Not saying what happened, but happened on Thursday night. But I have a strong suspicion that A.J. Brown's going to be a New England Patriot by the time the season starts.
Well, I agree with you, but I don't think it's going to happen during the draft for this reason. My understanding is you can't do it the way like you cut people on the first day of the new year and you designate them a post June 1st cut. Because the Eagles save $10 million if they move A.J. Brown after June 1st. So I think if a deal gets done, it'll be after June 1st. But my understanding is you can't announce that at the draft and say it's going to go down officially in 5 weeks, but we're going to get our pick now from so-and-so and use it. My understanding is you can't do that.
Yeah. This can't be the NBA trade where you trade and where one team makes a pick but then trades it for whatever.
Right. So to me, do I think he's going to be traded? I do. And I think, quite frankly, they've signed 3 veteran wide receivers in the last 2 weeks. And one of them they just gave $13 million for next year. So I think it's pretty obvious they're going to move on from A.J. Brown.
And I have a feeling the Eagles draft offensive line, but that's just me because they've gone defense heavy the last 2 years. I think the Eagles O-line's got to get younger because Lane Johnson being out last year hurt Philly big time.
Yeah, and they've got 2 guys on their offensive line who are year to year. Absolutely. They need a plug-and-play guy. I'm curious who they decide. Is it Proctor from Alabama? That's right around where people have him going. Do they take the center from Florida, quite frankly, who a lot of people have going in the first 10 picks of the second round, but did the Eagles just say, he's a plug-and-play guard at center or guard, we're going to take him? I'm curious who the Eagles, now remember, they don't have their longtime O-line coach. They have a new guy in place. But I agree with you, Dylan. I think they go offensive line, and I'm curious who it is.
How do you see the first 10 picks going without trades and then going, let's just say, straight up? I'm guessing both of us think Mendoza's going 1, correct?
Oh, yeah. And Reese 2.
Yeah. And then
Bailey's, I think Bailey's 3, whether it's Arizona or anybody else, and Love is 4. I think the draft starts at 5.
yeah, what would the Giants do? Because if Love's gone, I think New York's got 2 options, or maybe 3. I think they take it because knowing Harbaugh, knowing he loves physicality, but he loves versatility. I think they either take Sonny Styles and be New York's Fred Warner for the next 10 years or whatever, or they go Caleb Downs to say, you're my Kyle Hamilton.
I agree. I think they would take Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
I would want them to take the safety. But
and then 6,
Cleveland picks the best offensive player on their board, whether it's a wide receiver or a tackle. I think they'd go offensive tackle.
And I have them taking a wide receiver, but tackle, but then they go wide receiver at 24, they go tackle the other way around.
Yeah. And they could draft listen, they just have to draft offensive players, honestly. Their defense is excellent. Their offense is horrendous. It's not a joke anymore, D. It really isn't. They need help on offense. First 4 rounds, nothing but offensive players.
Maybe the Browns do what the Panthers did a few years ago, instead of drafting on defense, the Browns just draft all offense.
Hey, they should. They should. Listen, Bill Walsh and the Niners in 81, he had his quarterback. The West Coast offense was starting to percolate. He said, man, I need help on defense. We were terrible on D. Yeah, he drafted 1, 2, and 4, 3 corners, boom, 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 or 2 corners and a safety. And there you go. And they won the Super Bowl, and they all started.
Yeah, and then the same thing in 86 where they drafted Tom Rathman, John Taylor, those 2 young corners. I think Charles Haley was in that draft class.
But that's what I think Cleveland does. I think Washington takes the best defensive player on the board. Their defense was old and slow. So to me, if it's Styles at 5, it's the safety from Ohio State at 7. I think they would take him over Reuben Bain. If it's Downs at 5, Styles at 7.
And then the Saints would be an interesting one because my latest mock draft, I actually had them taking Bain, but now I'm wondering would they take one of the wide receivers or Bain if all of them fell to 8.
Well, I think teams are wary of the Giants taking Tyson, the wide receiver at Arizona State, at 10. So if by chance that's the guy that the Saints really want, I think they'll go offensive tackle.
I mean, could go there too. I mean, especially if all of them fell, which could happen. And the Kansas City's another one because the Chiefs need to get corners, pass rushers, and tackles badly. But
yeah, I think they'd take Bain, and they let their defense coordinator work with them, Spags. I think they'd take him over a corner, but they can't go wrong with either one. But see, it goes to show who's falling. The guy who I think has the best chance of falling is Bain. Can Bain be on the board when Miami picks at 11? I think it's possible.
That would be something.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just had 2 offensive tackles go in the top 10. We had at least 1 wide receiver go. At least 1.
And then look at the teams in the first half of the teams. The Giants. Who knows what happens at 10? I mean, they have to get an interior lineman, but not at 10, right?
Correct. Now they don't have a third round pick, but that's probably where they go in the second round.
Maybe
although to be honest, this is not a good draft for defensive tackle. They may wait till Saturday to start drafting, big guys to just plug in the middle on early downs.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hayden McDonald's a late one. I think Florida's got a defensive tackle who's probably more a day 2 prospect.
Right, but the thought is that the top defensive tackles may go late in round 1. I think it's who's the kid from Clemson, who's projected to be a late first round defensive tackle. So, yeah. Certain positions in this draft, if you need a guy, there ain't a guy.
Yeah, I don't think it's TJ. I don't think it's TJ Parker, but Clemson's got somebody who could have been a top 10 pick, and he really underwhelmed last year. But so did the whole Clemson team.
Correct.
And then what happens in the corners? Because Dallas would love if Delane or the Tennessee corner fell to 12.
Right. But does he? Giants need corners. That's the roll the dice in this draft. Can you get one of the guys or one of the positions that you desperately need without moving up? Are you willing to roll the dice and let the draft come to you? Like I think the Rams can at 13. I think they can get either a number 3 wide receiver or the third best tackle in the draft and get him at 13. Now, the Dolphins, assuming that there's no trades here, I've heard they love Fano, the tackle from Utah. So, could that be the third tackle? And then that's it. The tackles are gone by 11. Uh-oh. So that's why I think there will be a lot of trades, at least 2 in the top 10, maybe 3, and that there will be people moving all over the board outside the top 10 because I got to move and get this guy to fill this position, or I can't believe this guy fell. We can get him and throw in a 4th round pick. I think there's going to be a ton of it.
And you know what? In this kind of a draft with so much uncertainty, I mean, we know who's going 1. We think we know who's going 2. But then it's like, would a team move up 3 spots for Jeremiah Love? I mean, when's the last time you've heard a team moving up for a running back?
Or taking a safety in the top 5. Right. Oh, yeah. No, think about it. We could have a running back and a safety taken in the top 5.
Or an all-fall linebacker. I'm like, is Billy Ray Smith going to be drafted 5th overall in 1983?
Wow. I just watched that 30 for 30 again the other day. But
yeah, the San Diego Chargers bombed that draft.
And they had multiple first-round picks.
3.
Okay. But they signed Fouts to an extension during the first round. And so they decided not to take Marino.
Oops. And then the Steelers drafted Gabriel Rivera from Texas Tech.
Yep. Who tragically was in a car accident. Yep.
One more thing. We've seen what NIL has done for college sports, not just college football, but college basketball. I think this year's NBA draft will be stacked. Is NIL good? I mean, bad, good, or great for the NFL draft?
For the NFL draft, I think that NIL might keep a player or 2 away because they can make big money playing in the NFL or playing in college for 1 more year. They could make more than what they could make in the NFL, quite frankly, in a couple of cases. But I think we all just need to wrap our heads around it's here. It's not going anywhere. Okay. They've won in court every single time. All of this has been challenged. The players won in court against the NCAA 9-0 in the Supreme Court. When is the last time you heard this Supreme Court render a 9-0 decision on anything?
Never.
These players are going to be paid from this point forward, and any attempts to limit it are foolish and will be shot down in court. Now, contracts, being able to tie someone down to a school, how many years of eligibility? These are things that can be done. These are things that will be challenged, but that can withstand some challenges and are worth pursuing. But you give it up on the money. Give it up.
Yeah, and in many ways, you look at Dante Moore. I mean, 5 years ago, he's probably a top 5 pick, and now he's making what, $7 million at Oregon.
Well, and he was handsomely paid his 1 year at UCLA, and then he gets handsomely paid to go to Oregon, and now he gets really handsomely paid to stay.
Yeah, and by the time, and who knows, he still could be a number 1 pick next year.
Could be. We'll see. We'll see if the 2027 quarterback class can keep it together, because the 2026 class fell apart outside of Mendoza.
Yeah. I mean, Cade Klubnik, Nussmeier, Drew Aller.
Yep.
All right, David, thanks for hopping on. And you know what? I think this draft on Thursday night is going to be wild and crazy.
Yes, it won't be, 4 or 5 quarterbacks and elite receiver talk. And this is a goober draft. This is a draft of defensive edge rushers, a couple of other defensive playmakers, offensive tackles, and then wide receivers. Does that sound sexy? No. But will it be fascinating? Yeah. You'll see a lot of teams that the chipmunk, the squirrel, whatever, will be working. And there's only 8 minutes in between picks. So they will have to have these deals worked out in advance so that if the team above them takes a certain guy, they can pick up the phone and say, all right, the deal we agreed upon, we doing it? If so, okay, done.
That means the iPhones better be charged on Thursday.
Yeah.